You're in a conversation and something feels off. Someone says something unfair, disrespectful, or just wrong. You notice it immediately. You feel it. But instead of saying something, you stay quiet. Maybe you nod. Maybe you change the topic. Maybe you just let it pass. And then later, when you're alone, your mind starts replaying everything. Suddenly, the perfect response appears. You think of exactly what you should have said, how you could have handled it better, how you could have stood up for yourself. And the frustrating part is, now it's too late. This experience is far more common than people admit, and it doesn't mean you're weak or that you don't understand the situation. In fact, most people who struggle to speak up in the moment are actually very aware. They notice details. They understand tone. They pick up on what's right and wrong almost instantly. The problem is not awareness. The problem is what happens in your brain in that exact moment when you're expected to respond. When a tense or uncomfortable situation appears, your brain doesn't just focus on what you want to say. It immediately starts scanning for consequences. If I say this, will it create conflict? Will this damage the relationship? Will this turn into an argument? This process happens so quickly that you don't even notice it. But while your brain is busy predicting outcomes, it delays your response. And that small delay is often enough to make you stay silent. At the same time, there's another layer happening internally. Your emotional system and your thinking system are slightly out of sync. Emotion reacts instantly. You feel something is wrong right away. But your logical brain needs a few seconds to organize thoughts into clear words. For people who think deeply, this process takes a bit longer. So in the moment, you feel everything, but you can't translate it into the right response fast enough. And by the time your mind finally organizes the perfect sentence, the moment has already passed. This is why you often replay conversations later. Your brain is trying to complete something unfinished. It goes back to the situation and fills in the response you didn't give. You imagine saying it confidently. You imagine the other person reacting. Sometimes you even replay it multiple times, slightly changing the outcome each time. It feels like you're solving the situation, but in reality, you're just processing it after the fact. There's also a strong connection between this behavior and conflict avoidance. Some people are naturally more sensitive to tension. Even a small disagreement can feel heavy. So instead of reacting immediately, the brain chooses the safer option, silence. Not because you agree, but because you're trying to keep things stable. In that moment, maintaining peace feels more important than expressing yourself. But later, when the pressure is gone, all those suppressed thoughts come back. Interestingly, people who struggle with this are often the same people who care deeply about fairness, respect, and meaning in conversations. They don't like unnecessary conflict, but they also don't like dishonesty, so they end up stuck in between. They see the problem clearly, but they hesitate to address it in real time. This creates an internal conflict where you feel like you should have said something, but you didn't. Another reason this happens is perfection. Many people don't just want to respond, they want to respond the right way. They want their words to be clear, calm, and effective. But in real-time conversations, there is no perfect response. There are pauses, interruptions, emotions, and unpredictability. If your brain is waiting for the perfect sentence, it will often choose silence instead. Over time, this pattern becomes automatic. You start expecting yourself to stay quiet in tense moments, and your brain follows that pattern without questioning it. Then later, you analyze everything in detail, what you should have said, how the other person behaved, what it meant. And this cycle repeats again and again. The important thing to understand is that this is not a permanent personality trait. It's a learned response. Your brain has associated speaking up with risk and silence with safety, but that doesn't mean you can't change it. The shift doesn't come from suddenly becoming confident or aggressive. It starts with something much smaller. Instead of trying to deliver the perfect response, you allow yourself to give a simple, imperfect one. Even a short sentence like, "I don't think that's right," or "that didn't feel okay," is enough. You don't need to explain everything in that moment. You just need to break the silence. Because once you do that, your brain slowly learns that speaking up is not as dangerous as it assumed. Another powerful shift is giving yourself permission to respond later, but intentionally. Instead of only replaying the situation in your head, you can actually go back and address it calmly. This reduces the pressure of needing to be perfect in the moment while still allowing you to express yourself. Over time, these small changes reduce the gap between what you feel and what you say. The goal is not to become someone who reacts instantly to everything. The goal is to become someone who can express themselves without freezing in the moment. So if you've ever stayed quiet when you wanted to speak and then spent hours thinking about what you should have said, there's nothing wrong with you. Your brain was trying to protect you. It just did it in a way that left you feeling unheard. The real shift happens when you start teaching your mind that your voice is not a threat, it's a tool. And now I'm curious, when you stay quiet in the moment, is it because you don't know what to say or because you're worried about what might happen if you do? Let me know in the comments.